Shoots and Scores Hockey Talk, where we talk about everything hockey. I am John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chris.
All right,
Go
gentlemen.
Canes, go.
Let's go. Now, our first topic, of course, is the Stanley Cup Finals between the Hurricanes and the Golden Knights. What else will we be talking about here, right? On an all hockey chat show. Now, things are all tied up 2 games apiece after a very entertaining game Tuesday evening. I was quite entertained by it. Carolina won that game 5-3, and now we have the best of 3 series since we're tied at 2 games apiece with 3 games left. And we've witnessed some really good hockey in these playoffs, including the finals. I thought I've been quite entertained watching some of these games. I want to start off with the goaltending, guys, for both sides. Now, for Carolina, who's going to start Game 5 tonight? I assume it's already been announced, but, we'll just talk about it. Now, what I really want to know, though, is if Carolina loses tonight, who's going to start Game 6? Chris, let's start with you. Who's starting tonight, and what happens if they lose tonight? Are they going to change it up?
I actually haven't checked, but I know Bussi was in the starting crease this morning at practice, and Anderson wasn't even on the ice, so I'm assuming it's going to be Bussi. And for Game 6, depending on what happens, if it's one of those 1-0, 2-1 games, yeah, Bussi will, and they lose, Bussi will play Game 6. If he has a bad one, then I don't know what's going on with Anderson. Brindamore does lean on the goalie coach. I think his name is Schofeld or something of that nature. He leans on him hard, and he's basically said he tells me who's good to go. Right? He's not making any decisions. He's not really talking to him. The goalie coach tells him who he thinks to go with. And for that Game 4, the goalie coach told him Anderson needs a break, right? And that's why he didn't even dress. So that's why they went with Bussi. So I would think that, it's really in that guy's hands on who plays. But if Anderson doesn't dress again tonight, then I think it's going to be the Bussi show until this is done.
Mike, what the hell's going on here?
Well, I do believe that they said Bussi is going to start. So it comes down, like with the goaltending with these 2 teams is, Carter Hart kind of screwed up on that first goal last game by missing the puck when it was bouncing out in front. That cost them, and it cost them because that was a key goal, first goal of the game. But as far as Carolina goes, I'm wondering if when Anderson got hit by, I believe it was Barbashev coming through the crease, if that has something to do with him not playing, because I think that potentially could have rattled him there when he got hit, because he did take a pretty good shot to the head. So, I mean, they didn't pull him from the game or anything like that. So, however, maybe he was feeling some ill effects afterwards, and maybe that's why he's not playing. But with that being said, Anderson has not started this many games in a row since the playoffs last year. And even then, I don't think he played this many games in a row. So I would guess he's probably a little bit tired, considering they have basically been split starts through most of the season. Or Bussi was the starter for some periods of the season when Anderson was struggling. So as far as tonight's game, I agree with Chris that if the game is low scoring, I think Bussi stays in the net. And if it's not, and it's not in Carolina's favor, we see either Anderson or maybe Kochetkov next game. And I doubt Kochetkov is ready for game action, but, desperation calls for desperation moves sometimes. So who knows? But yeah, it's, I think basically a goalie's got to steal a game in this series. And so far, I don't really think a goalie has stolen a game, in my opinion. So the one that does is going to get the win, and who knows? Maybe it'll be tonight. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay. Yeah, this is Thursday night here. I meant to say that before we started. So Game 5 is tonight. It'll be interesting to find out. Now, I have a part B to this question, Mike. If Carolina wins Game 5, Could Carter Hart be replaced for Game 6? And we know Torts can and sometimes does change things up from time to time. He goes a little bit ballistic.
No.
No, it's not possible. What if it's like a 6-1 blowout?
He'll be in that next game. The only way you're seeing another goalie in this series for Vegas is if Carter Hart gets bombed in the first period or two, and then they'll throw Hill in to mop it up. But Carter Hart's going to be the goalie every game to start unless he's hurt. Torts is going to stick with him 100%.
All right. Chris, do you agree with that? Do you think that there's no way?
I haven't seen any evidence of them thinking about Hill, and that's come up in Twitter the last few days about, no mention of Hill, no mention of a goalie change. So it feels like it's going to be Hart or bust when it's all said and done.
Well, all right. I mean, I guess it's Carter Hart's cup to win or lose, I guess. I mean, if the goalies are pretty close to, if they're similar, I'm sure Chris probably has some stats on that somewheres in the back of his mind. If they're pretty close to being similar, like you said, Mike, it could be the goalie's game to steal. If one of these goalies could steal a game, then they could very well win this best of 3 now and win the Stanley Cup. So we'll see what happens.
The best thing about Carter Hart is that he's very, very consistent, giving up 4 goals a game. So I just hope that trend continues for the next 2.
Right, but that's not what you were saying last week when you were saying the only way Carolina can win is if it's a low-scoring game. We'll get into that here in a bit.
Anyway. We will.
All right, second topic I want to talk about is Jordan Staal. I want to talk about Jordan Staal because
your boy.
I've been really impressed. Well, I've always been a Jordan Staal fan. So, he scored in all 4 games in the finals. 5 goals in 4 games. He looks like a man on a mission as far as I'm concerned, especially that last goal that he scored in the third period the other night. Now, could he be under any kind of consideration for MVP of the playoffs if Carolina wins the Cup? If not him, then who? Stankoven, Ehlers? I mean, who is it? Chris, what do you think? Does he have a shot? He is the captain.
He does all the stuff that most hockey fans don't care about or don't want to talk about, right? Because it's all about goals, points, right? That's what people want to talk about. But he's the guy who shuts down all the other star players on the other teams. That's his first goal. His second thing is to win faceoffs and play big because we don't have a lot of big guys, and he's one of those guys. So from an MVP of the playoffs, Conn Smythe, no. I even if he scores another goal tonight, no, because the points aren't there. Even though he probably is the true MVP of this playoff series for the Carolina Hurricanes, there's no doubt about it. And because they focus on goals and assists and points, it's got to be Stankoven, right? He's got 11 goals, I believe, right? He's the guy doing all the scoring on the team. Is it 12 now? Yeah, so
11 or 12.
It'll be him. I know Ehlers has just under a point per game, but I think Stankoven, he's getting all the love and the whole Ratton trade, right? It looks good what's happening for him, and I think he would be the odds-on favorite for that MVP if Carolina wins the Stanley Cup.
Mike, do I have any hope here? Could Staal be the MVP if they win the Cup and he scores more goals?
I think it's a long shot, like Chris said. He'd really have to go on a major rip here because they do look at the points more than the overall gameplay. So unless he goes wild here and they win 2 more games because of it, I have my doubts. I just can't see it. At the end of the day, I think Marner's going to win this win or lose anyways. So that's my put your thumbs down all you want. I'm just saying I think Marner is probably going to win it whether they win or lose. So, but we'll see. I think he's been the most deserving so far out of all the players in the playoffs right now. So.
Well, one thing's for sure, they're not going to give it to the goaltenders. I would be shocked.
No.
See that happen?
For the amount of goals that have been going in this series.
And
there would have needed to have been some shutouts or 1-goal games for that to happen.
Yeah. Traditionally, goalies seem to have the upper hand when it comes to this, but
Mhm.
it's not going to happen this year. So anyway,
No
yeah.
Hall of Fame future goalies in this playoffs.
Well, not right now, anyway. That is for sure. So, Mike, I don't have to ask you part B because you kind of already answered it. But I will go back and ask Chris
Mhm.
if Vegas wins the cup, Chris, who would be the MVP for Vegas? Would it be Marner? Would it be Stone? Would it be Howden? Would it be somebody else? Would it be the goaltending? Yes.
Yeah, you can
We
put
said no.
you can go to whatever betting site you like, and you can drop your mortgage on it. That would be Marner if Vegas wins the Stanley Cup here. That's a guarantee. But if Carolina wins, no. Again, Twitter has been talking about this, right? And they're like, has Marner played at the McDavid level? Was it 2 years ago? Right? He got the Conn Smythe and they lost. Everyone's
Yep.
like, no. And there was another example of somebody who won the Conn. Oh, J.S. Jaguar. Remember when Anaheim, right? In the playoffs he won the Conn Smythe even though they lost. And everyone's like, Marner's having a great playoff, but not at the level of those two guys. So, no, I don't believe Marner wins the Conn Smythe if Carolina wins the cup. No, I'm not in that section or bandwagon, if you want to call it.
If you really thought that, would you actually tell us?
What?
If
If
you thought
No,
Marner was going to win, would you actually say? Would you tell us here
he
online?
hasn't been at the level of those two guys when they lost. So I agree. That's what the Twitter is leaning towards, and I kind of agree with that perception.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's
Now,
why we
again,
asked
it
the
is
question.
Carolina, and if there's a franchise or a team that gets disrespected more than NHL, I haven't seen it yet, but no, he should not win it if the Canes win the cup.
Okay, well, I agree. I still like Jordan Stahl.
I think
I
it's
just
going to come down to the next 2 or 3 games, anyways. Like, I mean, Ehlers, I think, has had a great playoffs. If I was to pick someone from Carolina, that's probably the guy I would pick. Would be Ehlers. He's scored some key goals for the team. So, if not Marner and it's Carolina, I would say Ehlers should be the guy.
okay, all right. We're going to go on to our third topic here. Now, this is me doing a little bit of mathing. There have been a total of 33 goals scored in 4 games in this finals. 33 goals in 4 games. Crazy. I thought things would have tightened up considerably after game 1, and especially by now. But the goals are being scored almost at will. Now, Chris, you said that in order for Carolina to win, the scores would need to be dramatically decreased. Now, Mike, you said that if it's high scoring, Vegas is going to win the series. Now, gentlemen, have things progressed the way that you thought? Now, Chris, we're going to start with you.
Let's start with me.
Yeah.
No. I did not expect all these goals to be flying by.
33 goals. No way either one of you thought that was going to. Well, maybe Mike did.
That's
Awesome.
way too much offense. Way too much offense. But when you break it down, I've loved Carolina's first and third periods. The second period is a disaster.
What's
It's
wrong
an
with their second periods?
absolute disaster. I don't know.
So they don't like the long change?
It's. I said I'm pretty sure Carolina is one of the best second period teams in the league, and this series is like, what is going on, right? And even game 4, I'm sitting there like, oh please, oh goal, Vegas goal. I'm like, come on, like what is? I don't understand because the first and third periods, Carolina, hands down, have outscored them. Looks like the team that won 12 out of 13 games, and the second periods, just a disaster. I don't get it. Defensive breakdowns, people not covering each other, getting killed in the rush. It has been the rush chances that Vegas has been taking advantage of versus Carolina scoring most of their goals in cycling. I can't explain it, but you know what? If they could have done what they always do in the second period, the series would be over. Carolina would have won the cup already, but the second period just a disaster. I did not expect as many goals, though. No. I thought it'd be. I know there's a lot of talent on the ice, and they're playing so fast, but wow,
And
a lot more goals than I expected.
if you
And I'm
could have,
surprised Carolina is keeping up.
yeah, well, that's what I was going to
We
say.
all know. Yeah, we all know Vegas has the high end talent. Carolina is a deeper team, and I don't know. A lot of goals usually doesn't mean well. Um, but again, I think Carolina's got 4 power play goals and Vegas only has 1, right? And I talked about how
So
Carolina only loses when they run into a team with an elite power play and Hall of Fame goalie. So far, so good, but we're 2-2 because it's a struggle. All the goals are given up 5-on-5. But
so Carolina is 4 for 11 on the power play, and their power play was dead to rights in the last couple of series. It was just
yeah,
well, I think in all 3 series it was pretty much dead to rights. And Vegas is 1 for 13.
yeah, and it's scary.
So
So some of those power plays are scary when you see those 5 guys in the ice and the way they're moving the puck. And when Stahl lost his stick on the draw, I put my head down on the pillow. I couldn't watch it because I'm like, we're so toast. I'm just waiting and I'm waiting. I'm waiting for them to say Vegas score, and it didn't happen. I heard Carolina clears the puck, and I looked up. I'm like, what? Of course, I rewinded to watch it again because I had to see what they did. But yeah, the penalty killing masterclass there for the Canes, but that has to keep up, right? And it's not. It's a lethal power play over there when they got those 5 forwards on the ice.
okay, Mike, Chris said an awful lot there. What do you
An
think about
awful
what
lot.
do you
Yeah.
think about what he said?
Yeah. Well, he always has a mouthful. So as far as the scoring, I'm not surprised. And I said this going in that 4-3
33
games.
goals though, Mike. That's a lot of damn
You know,
goals.
I'll be honest. It might be a goal more than what I was expecting, but I know that when we had talked before, I said expect to see like 4-3 games or 5-2 or whatnot. So um, I know I had mentioned to you guys that the gambling sites had set
Oh yeah,
over under for
7.5, right?
6.5 for the first like 3 games, and then they quickly bumped it up to 8.5 for game
Yeah.
4. So I think they lost their shirt a little bit there at some of these places a little too often. So they made it a little more difficult. And I would have bet the over if I was putting money down on any of this stuff because I expected it to be a high scoring series. So um, now when it comes down to the gameplay, and we talked Vegas's power play has not been great this series.
Oh, it
It's
looks good though. It
it's
looks good.
done it, but they haven't scored, so it's gotta even itself out at some point. They're gonna get some power play goals. So um, overall, when you're looking at these two teams, 5-on-5 play, Carolina, in my opinion, is the better team because of their depth. But like Chris said, Vegas has more high end talent. So, um, with that being said, it's going to be a very good series, and I think we fully expected it to be. I'm just kind of wondering if Hannafin and McNabb are. There's something with Hannafin, obviously, like he hurt his arm or his ribs or something. He's somewhere's that he had left the game for a little bit there a couple games back. And then, McNabb, obviously, he can't be 100% taking a slap shot to the face. I mean, you know, if this was regular season, he wouldn't be playing. However, I think Vegas might be dealing with a couple more injuries more than what Carolina is. And we know Stone had missed some time also in the playoffs. So I doubt he's 100% too. But like I said, it's going to come down to a goalie stealing a game here. And depending on which one, that's going to be the team that may end up winning this thing. So tonight's game, it's got to be the most important game of the series so far. I mean, the last one clearly was, and Carolina took advantage because they couldn't go down 3-1, and they won. So, tonight's game, this is pretty much a must-win game for Vegas. I don't think that they're going to win two road games against Carolina at this stage of the series. So it's a key game tonight. We're going to have to see what happens.
So if I heard that right, Mike just said Carolina wins tonight, they win the cup, right? You heard that right? What?
I would
Just said that right.
I would definitely have to say that. I mean, tonight's the key game. If Vegas wins, I think whoever wins tonight's game is going to win the cup. So that's what it's going to come down to. I don't see if Vegas wins tonight. I don't see them losing at home next game. Um, However, Carolina, I think that they can. They if they win tonight, they can win. They can win in Game 7. I don't think Vegas would win if it goes to 7. So that's why I picked Vegas in 6.
Okay, all right. Let's go on to. Well, I don't know what else to say about that.
What do you think, John? What are you going to say? What are you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that I think Carolina's going to win tonight. That's what I think's going to happen.
I'm the opposite with Mike. I don't think Carolina losing tonight means Vegas wins Game 6. I don't believe in that. I think Carolina has a chance to lose tonight and still win this. But if Carolina wins tonight, I feel very strongly Vegas isn't, like I said, Vegas isn't going to win two after that. But it is a team that can lose tonight and still win this, even though chances will be low. I think it'll be more Carolina versus Vegas.
It's going to be pretty interesting, and I can't wait actually to see the game because the last few games, well, the games have been really, really exciting to watch.
Yeah,
and I'm not used to seeing this many goals scored in the finals either. Like we're not used to that.
No lead has been saved. So
no. Yeah. Let's go on to our fourth topic for this evening now. Which team is playing a better defensive game right now? Now both teams are scoring, but is there a clear favorite here on the defensive side of things? Mike, what do you think? Is either one of these teams actually better defensively? Could you actually look at one and say, yeah, I think this team's playing better defensively?
It's a good question. I find that some of the goals that Carolina has scored, Vegas has looked really scrambly in their own zone, not getting the puck out or, just turning it over like last game. They turned it over right in front of the net twice. The first time it didn't go in. Second time is the one that Stahl ended up scoring on. Like very scrambly in their own end. And, this was as well the first goal against, like I said, Carter Hart misjudged the bounce off the backboards and, then they popped it in the top of the net. If I got to say I clearly think that Carolina is the better defensive team, but it's when you're looking at the amount of goals going in, it's hard to say either one has been great defensively. So that is still a question to be answered, I think, in my book.
All right, Chris, what do you think? One of these teams better defensively?
No, I agree. I think there's been more glaring issues with Vegas, right? Anderson, Theodore, they've had more like, whoa, you just got out-muscled by a 5'8" guy. Oh, you just gave the puck, like, they've had more of those. But again, that's Carolina's game, right? It's puck pressure and try to create that, and it's been happening, right? Vegas defense, a lot of people talk about how great they were, but they showed they are human in this series. Carolina has been more about putting the puck in their own net because we know there's 3 own goals by Carolina so far. But definitely they've not turned the puck over as often in the defensive zone transition game. I think that's been okay. But again, it could be better. Like, when Mark Stone gets 3-4 breakaways, it's like, come on, guys. Like, come on.
He's very fleet of foot.
But Shane Gotherspare was right beside him, and he couldn't catch him. And I'm like, I thought Gotherspare could skate, and he couldn't catch him. I was just shocked.
Well, he was tired.
He's got deceptive speed. That's what he's got, deceptive speed, right? He looks faster than he's moving, obviously, because, I was kind of surprised by that. But, I don't know. I know one guy who got a lot of love before this series was Jack Eichel, right? Oh, another Barkov type of display. And no, Eichel's not a Barkov type player, and he's showing that in the series defensively.
Well, Stahl shut him down, really.
Yeah, Saul doesn't get enough credit for all the top centers he goes against and makes them look, human, right? And not a superstar. And that's his job, and he does a great job at it, right? And if you ask guys, I think Jack Hughes came out and says he hates it. Like, he hates it. I don't blame him. Like, when you're 5'9", 160 pounds, and you got that man all over you in the boards, what are you going to do, right? That's what he does best. So, But yeah, overall, I think Carolina has been a little better in the turnover department. They just got to stop putting the puck in their own net. And Vegas, yeah, I think Hannafin is definitely, it was a shoulder that I'm pretty sure that he came off, he was favoring. Anderson, offensively, has always been a little below average, so it's always helpful when he screws up. And Theodore, I don't know, Team Canada Theodore, but sometimes he looks a little leaky too. McNabb is the best guy that I see out there for blocking shots, making plays, passing, even passing the puck. I was surprised a few times his transition. He's looked pretty good. Um, the other guy who hits all the time, Lazaron,
Lauzon, yeah.
Lazone. He can be had. He's very physical, but he can be had in certain spots. So
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Carolina's got the advantage when it comes to the bottom pair, like clear advantage. Vegas's bottom pair is, they're
they,
not.
they barely play. They
Yeah,
barely.
that's why they don't play much.
Yeah.
Carolina's bottom pair is definitely stronger when you're looking at the two teams, and like I said, with if with the Hannafin hurt, that's probably limiting what he's capable of doing as well. So that's why, like I said, I think Carolina's the better defensive team, and that all kind of ties in with that as well. Mind you, I thought healthy they're the better defensive team, anyways.
Oh, ouch! He said that on tape.
Yeah,
Well,
facts are facts.
tape has been gone for a lot of years, Chris. We're
All
doing
right.
this.
He said that on the stream. It's out on the interwebs.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. Now, I know Mike wanted to go over something about a certain goal that was disallowed against Carolina. Mike, what did you want to say about that?
Well,
That was game 3, right?
the one that Torts challenged, I think it was game 2.
Game 2.
Oh, he got roasted on the interwebs. He got roasted.
When I watched this play, I thought that the goal was disallowed because the referee lost sight of the puck and his intent was to blow the whistle. To me, that looked like it made the most sense to me. But when they said it was disallowed because of goalie interference, I can understand why Torts challenged it, because I didn't really think that there was any goalie interference on that play. So that's the reasoning why he challenged it. I mean, obviously, he couldn't challenge it if it was the referee's intent was to blow the whistle because he lost sight of the puck. But I can understand why he challenged it. And I mean, I watched some of the shows too, and some of the analysts and stuff. They said the same thing. They were like, at first they thought it was, what? Don't challenge that. Like that's, you're not going to win that challenge. But after watching the play, they're like, I can see why he challenged that, because, the puck was loose in front of Anderson and it was Barbashev or whoever that poked at it. And
Right.
I didn't see him do anything that would have kept Anderson from making the save if he was capable of making the save. I just think it squirted underneath of him and rolled through. So, that's my opinion. I can understand the challenge. I kind of think Vegas got hosed a little bit on it, but what can you do?
Chris, do you remember the play, or did you see that? Like,
Yeah.
I do remember sort of, but I just don't remember the interference part of it. But what did you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's when Barbashev put his stick in there to try to free the puck up is what the referees determined is the old pitchfork or whatever term you want to use. Right? And that was a decision, but I think Torts is getting a lot of crap on is because, and Brendan Moore mentioned it too after the next game, right? He's basically said if they call it if they wave it off or call it a goal, it's very rare they overturn it, right? Offsides, I think it's pretty easy. When you see it's offside, you're winning those 90% of the time.
Yep.
But taking a goal off the board, they say, is very difficult. And yeah, I don't know. But
Well,
the puck was underneath.
do you think it was goalie interference? You got to answer the question.
Well, Anderson's hands were coming
opinion.
over. Slavin was there, and then Barbashev used his stick to shovel to get a stick under his body. Obviously, he hit the puck, and the puck
Yeah.
went in. But
Okay.
in theory, you're not allowed to do the old pitchfork and push and shove and hit the goalie stuff. So
But he didn't
I get
touch
it.
the goalie.
Yeah, he did. Oh, yeah, he did.
Uh,
Yeah.
after the puck had already went underneath of him.
No, he had to hit the puck with the stick. So therefore, you're hitting the goalie because the puck's underneath the goalie.
I watched this just before we started this because I wanted to be sure.
Oh.
You go watch it. You'll see he hits the puck, and then after it rolls
The
through,
referees are doing a great job, Whitey. The NHL is doing a great job.
no,
Okay, all right. There's something else that I wanted to bring up before we go any further here, and that's why the hell can't any of these teams hold on to their lead? This is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
yeah.
No one's been able to hold on to a lead in 4 games.
Talent, will, and not the greatest goaltending. Those 3 things.
Is that what's going on, Mike? Talent, will, and
Vegas has talent. Carolina has the will.
It's
both
very
goalies are
obvious
like,
from what we've seen so far is that obviously no lead is safe. So despite being down a couple of goals, it's not over. Like they'll come back. Like as Chris said, I mean, Carolina's second periods have been horrendous. So, Vegas always has that in their back pocket, I guess. If they start badly, they know that they can come back in the second period. So, yeah, I mean, but that's what makes the series good is that, no lead is safe. I mean, when you watch some of these other sports, and once the lead is, you know, you know who's winning the majority of the games, whereas hockey's totally different. Like, aside from, if you got a huge discrepancy between teams as far as talent goes, a little different, but it's a Stanley Cup final, so you got the best of the best here. So no team's going to come back from 29 points like in the NBA.
Yeah, that only happens in the NBA. That's right.
go Knicks.
But yeah, so I mean, as long as you're within, a couple of goals, and I'll be honest, when Carolina came back when they were down 4, like I couldn't believe they were able to come back from that. However, they didn't end up winning the game, but the fact that they came back shows that no lead is safe. And like Chris said, the goaltending for both teams can be very suspect at times. So.
Yes.
That's why
Well, I was
a
shocked.
goalie needs to steal a game here. Someone.
I was shocked to see them come back from 4-0.
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Chris should have put some money down in Vegas on that. Not on Vegas, but in Vegas. Probably would have made a little bit of money back that they were going to come back from 4 down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It would have been nice if they could have won that game. That would have been
Oh, that would have been it.
comeback of all time, and
It would have been over.
because we had yes, it would because we had the miracle miracle at Molson back in 2002, right, when they were down 3-0 and they came back and tied it and won it overtime. So yeah, they have it in their DNA, and Brind'Amour was there. Brind'Amour's always around. Brind'Amour's around everything. Great for Carolina, right? He's always involved somehow, and let's hope he can.
When's Brind'Amour's contract up? Anyone know?
I think it's 3 or 4 years he signed up. He's re-upped again.
So he's
Every year he comes available. Toronto Maple Leaf fans and Toronto markets like, oh, just get him to Toronto. And then he re-signs in Carolina. Like, oh, he's a bum.
well, yeah. I'm sure Brind'Amour doesn't want to go to Toronto. Why the hell would he want to go there?
Well, I don't think he's ever leaving Carolina. He lives there. It's like everything's there. That's his place.
If he ever
Okay.
did, I think the only spot he would go might be Philly because
Might be Philly. Yeah.
he's he always held
He
Philly
does have a timeline.
in high regard. So
But it's not Tirana.
Well, no.
that won't be Toronto. No, he's not going there.
So, gentlemen, is there anything else you wanted to go over? I thought you had some stats you wanted to tell us about, Mike.
Oh, well, they didn't really come up through the conversation. So, but I think we covered most of them anyways. We were talking about the second period, how Vegas has, obviously been a much better team. Also, what else was it that I want to talk about? That was the main thing. Aside from that, I mean, it's been a pretty good series. But aside from this series, some of the other things I wanted to talk about was all these trade requests from players
Yes.
lately.
Yes.
The newest one is today. Darnell Nurse has requested a trade from Edmonton. How they're
Yeah.
going to move that full contract might be,
Oh yeah.
we'll have to see.
The thing about Darnell Nurse, though, that yesterday Edmonton said, "Are you willing to be traded this year? We'll work with you. If you say no, we are trading you next year, and we're not going to work with you." So that was the conversation they had with Darnell Nurse and his camp yesterday,
So
the day before.
they
So obviously
wanna get
Darnell
rid of
Nurse
him?
says, "If you're going to trade me next year, no matter what, trade me now, right? Might as well go now." So I think that's why his came out.
Apparently, that he's given them a list. Some
They gave him a
teams.
list of teams that
How many?
want that $9 million contract.
But yeah,
Let me guess. Let me guess. Florida, Dallas, Tampa, Vegas, right?
Florida, Minnesota, and Vegas. Those are the,
Yeah.
he wants to go where Larkin's going. But, the other thing too is apparently Steve Yzerman has asked Larkin's agent to provide some more teams for him to work with.
100%.
And the agent, I guess, was willing to a certain degree. So I have no idea what the teams are, but I can only assume it's got to be like, Dallas or Tampa or some of the big spending teams, or the non-tax states would be my guess.
Nashville. Nashville's also got no tax.
Yeah, no, Nashville's a middling team though. He wants to
I
go
know, but they
to.
got no tax.
He went.
And they have a super genius. They have a super genius GM. I heard this Chris McFarland guy, super genius. So that'll be fun.
Nothing like taking a shot, Chris. Nothing like
Oh,
taking
yeah.
a shot.
I'm kind of glad because the talk was that, they said a couple weeks ago Nashville was hiring somebody who was on a playoff team. And a lot of people were putting that on the assistant GM for Carolina, York. Darren York? I think it's Darren York. So I was like, oh, that sucks. Right, one of the analytic guys, right? But as soon as they announced McFarland, I was like, yes, York is staying. So that was good news.
Well,
Yes,
Nashville
and
just spent money. They just signed. Was it or Minnesota? Not Nashville. Minnesota signed Mike McCarron.
Yeah, the big guy.
6 years. So
Yeah, Dom, Luca, whatever, Skiski, they have these charts, and they kind of, they give them a money value of players' worth, but they also like to show how that money value will likely decrease as players get older and older. And Mike McCarron, it's like he's going to be worth less than a $2 million player next year, right? And then it goes down and down and down.
the average is 3.33 million a year is what he's getting. So,
6 years, right?
yeah,
For a 30-year-old.
2 million, 6 years. So
But they also showed Alex Tuck. Alex Tuck's going to get paid. Doesn't matter what the analytics show with his age, the style of play, guys like him. He's going to get paid, but they have him dropping fairly quickly too after a year one and year two of a deal, right? But he's still going to get paid, and someone's going to be not happy in a couple of years with his production. Because guys like that, they struggle. They struggle. Like Jordan Stahl's like a freak of nature, right? But not all these big guys can play at his level as they get older. Unless you got Rod Brindamore helping you with your workouts, you're going to struggle.
Rod Brindamore and
Rod the Bod, that was his nickname.
Rod the Bod. That's right. Yeah. All right. Is there anything else, gentlemen? If not, we'll end it there for this evening.
Just to add that the internet, game 1, game 2, 3, and 4, they're heavily glazing the Stanley Cup playoff series for entertainment value, for records being broken. I know in the past, I like to make fun of people with recency bias, right? They always think what they see now is the best ever.
Right.
But this series so far, a lot of people are treating it as one of the best they've ever seen. And as much as I try to think, it can't be that good. And then Yeah, it's for the goals and the action and the comebacks and everything. It's been really, really good. I don't know if you can call it the best ever. We'll kind of have to see what the next couple of games turns out. But yeah, people are entertained. I think it's 5 million people watched game 3 or 4 in the United States.
Game 3, I saw the numbers were high.
Yeah, I think second or third highest ever. I think was for that game for ABC or yeah, I think it's ABC. Canada's not doing as well. Not surprised. Those Montreal fans, they're all sooking and crying and putting their head in the sand and pretending hockey's done, thinking they're going to be here next year. Good luck with that. But yeah.
I think the other thing, too, with that is it looks like they've tried to alternate the schedule to avoid the NBA Finals as well. That's why I thought it was strange there when there was that 2-day break in between the 2 games in Vegas, which is like, oh, that's weird. So I don't know if that's the reason behind the schedule or not, but it seems that they're not playing the same nights as the NBA Finals. So
haven't they always been that way? Have they ever?
They've always taken more 2 days off during the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the NBA. Have we had both of them on the same?
That I'm not sure.
I would have to go back.
I would hope that they do kind of try to avoid that.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks did have 2 days off too, right? When they went to New
York,
York, they had 2 days off, and I was like, "What? What? There's no game tonight for basketball either." I'm like,
right. Well, okay, all right. We're going to leave it there for tonight. Now we're going to have another show next week, and the series is going to be over if we do our show on Thursday. So we'll talk about it then. So like, share, and subscribe. We will talk to you next week. Later.
Later.
Go Canes, go.